Have you ever seen one of those little touchscreen panels on the machine and just assumed it's some outdated relic from the 90s? Same here. After speaking with Nikki Gonzales at Automate 2025, though, it turns out that those things are doing way more than anyone gives them credit for. That screen isn't just a screen, it's the brain of the machine. It's the bridge between your people, your process, your plant, and even the cloud. And the company behind it, they're giving the software away for free, lowered the prices this year, and take a hard stance against subscription fees. It's simply good tech with solid values behind it. So now I'm asking, if HMIs have leveled up this far, why are we still treating them like second-class tech? That's what this episode's about. If you're into these stories from the trade show floor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone. The more you help me grow the channel, the more companies will want me to come interview them at these trade shows. This is how I keep showing up at shows and having conversations with the people who build the stuff that keeps this industry running.
Hey, it's Nikki Gonzales here. I'm Director of Business Development for Weintek USA, and we're here at our booth at Automate, booth number 6732. I am also the co-host of the podcast Automation Ladies, and founder of the community conference called OT SCADACon. I think that probably sums it up.
I think a little. I mean, there's so much more to you, Nikki, than just those three. But anyway, let's talk HMIs, because not a lot of people in my sphere know exactly what an HMI is and what its role is. They may see them, but I don't even know if they know what it stands for. So can you start with some basics? What is an HMI?
An HMI stands for Human Machine Interface. And that sounds pretty self-explanatory, but basically the starting point, and Weintek USA is a manufacturer of HMIs. That's what we do. It's what we specialize in. And we started making them about 30 years ago in 1995. We came out with a HMI, a graphical touchscreen HMI, and this is really the beginning of these screens replacing push buttons, right? That turn on or off the machine, indicator lights that show you status, alarms that show you if something is wrong or needs to happen on the machine. So it's really the interface from the operator to the machine.
Got it.
That's kind of the traditional role of an HMI, oftentimes thought of as an operator interface or a touch screen as well. HMIs sound old school now. It's been 30 years, right? We invented this cool thing 30 years ago, and here we are. Well, how are they even relevant anymore, right? You could use iPads, everything's in the cloud. Well, we thought so too 10 years ago. We came out with an HMI that is called a headless HMI. It was probably around 10 years ago. Don't quote me exactly on the year. But looking at those trends, we thought, are iPads going to replace all of these rugged industrial face screens, and every operator is going to be walking around with their own iPad? Great. You still need a capable software that talks to a PLC, that talks to, it's not like just getting an app on an iPhone. It has to be able to talk these industrial protocols. So what we came up with is called a headless HMI or a faceless HMI. And what it is, it's a little appliance that sits inside the control cabinet, and it communicates via an app to any kind of device that you want, whether that's a browser on a laptop, an app on a phone or a tablet. Removes the actual touch screen from the equation. But lo and behold, iPads haven't taken off as the main interface for industry.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're not industrial rated for the types of environments that we need. If you drop an iPad, is it going to work, right? Do you want the operator to walk off with the controls to a machine or accidentally take it home? No. The connectors that are built into the iPads are not industrial. They're not permanent. They can get loose. They can come off. So there's a number of reasons why that has really remained more consumer technology. And surprisingly, industrial HMIs are still the go-to for controlling, interfacing, and operating industrial machinery.
Awesome.
Now, of course, the inside's the guts, right? It's a powerful 4-core CPU. It's not, it's built for running these industrial applications and running them fast. Our stuff that's been out in the field for 30 years, it doesn't look super glamorous. It's not very high resolution, but it's been out there in the field for 15, 20 years without needing to be replaced.
They're robust.
They're extremely robust. They have, they will operate at high and low temperatures. They can take a beating from an operator. All of those things are what industrial companies expect from the hardware that they buy.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to replace it every 5 years. Now, that's a blessing and a curse for us, the fact that the products last so long, because most of the HMIs that are out there aren't very smart.
Right.
They may not be very high resolution. They have old resistive touchscreens, but that's because they just last so long that people don't need to replace them. But what we have today is actually, why are HMIs still relevant when there are all these other options?
Absolutely.
Right? Because we have been able to build more and more and more capability into this HMI. And what I see it's an interface between the operator and the machine. It's also an interface between the machine and the plant, and the plant network, and the cloud, if you want to.
Sure.
Right? It's an IoT gateway built into an HMI.
Got it.
It's a protocol conversion gateway built into an HMI. It can be a PLC controller built into an HMI.
Amazing.
It can be a way for the operator to see instructions on how to operate the machine, training videos, troubleshooting guides, bill of materials for spare parts on that machine, manuals on that machine.
And store that right there.
You can either store them on the HMI, and we have full multimedia capability for showing different types of files, videos, but we also have what's called a web browser object within the HMI design environment. And you can make any page that's the web browser that either goes back to the manufacturer of some part that's on the machine and pulls up their PDF, pulls up their instructional video.
Yep.
It can show feeds from vision systems, cameras,
That's
basically
really cool.
anything that you could access over the web can program to be accessible in the HMI. So you don't need to store it locally, but you can. And some of the coolest things I've seen, some of our best customers, most of our customers are what we would call machinery OEMs, or high volume designers of machinery, that then they send that out, they sell it to a plant or a machine shop or whoever, and then those people operate the machine. What you need as from an OEM standpoint is something that's interoperable, because you don't know exactly what protocols your customer is going to need to use to communicate with other things on their line. And so these machinery OEMs, they've really been able to take these features and create a competitive advantage for their machines, because it's not just a screen. It's now basically your way to train and interact with the operator, make it easier for them to understand your machine.
Yep.
And I've seen them integrate these things, like how the machine works. You can put a CAD model, you can put a video that showcases exactly all the processes on the machine, what they do, how they work, why you want to do things a certain way. You can put SOPs, how to operate the machine, like I said, maintenance instructions, all of those things. And that's really an OEM's competitive advantage to design that in. We provide the hardware and the software to be able to do it. And for us, it's also very important. Thinking about OEMs, you don't want to be paying high licensing fees or subscription fees.
Sure.
What are you going to do? You sell your machine and now you're paying hundreds of dollars a month or thousands of dollars a year? No, you needed to sell the machine to the customer, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to force your customer to pay these fees either.
Right.
So we're very unique in the market in that we provide an HMI with completely free software. The development environment is free. The runtime license is free. And you can really test and program and make your design before you ever have to buy an HMI from us. Although we recommend you buy one to, demo eventually. But our motto is to enable engineers to design what they want without limitations of worrying about budgets, licensing fees, limitations in protocols. So another, like I mentioned, it can be a protocol conversion gateway. All this talk of IoT, right?
Yep.
In the industry. You got to connect this to the cloud. You got to connect this and connect that. Well, how do you connect them when they're different proprietary languages that everything speaks? The PLC speaks one language. The motor speaks another language. This device has over 425 drivers for almost any conceivable type of industrial protocol that you may want to talk.
Really?
So what it does is it translates, it enables anything on the machine to talk to each other through the HMI.
That's so cool.
Again, for free. So you really don't need to buy a separate protocol conversion gateway, and that adds cost and complexity and space to your cabinet and to your machine design.
Yep.
To be able to communicate up to the cloud and send data to a database that's completely built in and free. You don't need an IoT gateway. If you want to talk, there's IoT protocols, right? MQTT with Spark B if you're in that space, or connecting to a unified namespace. It's included in the HMI. You don't have to pay for it. It comes already set up.
That's awesome.
Connections to the major cloud providers and their databases.
So you make it
built
as
in natively.
simple as possible.
Yeah. So really, I want to get the word out there that HMIs are not just HMIs.
Right.
They're really the gateway to interact with the machine from both sides of the equation.
And this isn't your granddaddy's HMI either. right? This is some really slick stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is amazing technology. How do you see these upgraded HMIs impacting workforce development efforts in our space,
Yeah.
right? Because we're all trying to do more with less. We're trying to get younger people involved. To me, it seems like you're taking technology to the youth with some of this technology, but I could be way off base because this is not my world.
No, you're right. I mean, the old style HMI was a resistive touchscreen with low resolution, and it looks clunky and kind of old, right? You can't put fancy graphics on there. User design is very different. And we talked about like the iPad, right? The iPad isn't the industrial interface, but that doesn't mean we can't make these look and feel like an iPad.
Absolutely.
And run as fast. So surprisingly, a lot of the HMIs in the market, they don't have a lot of power in the processor, as little as possible to keep costs down. So you boot it up and, most users today, you're used to your Netflix loading fast. You load up a web page, and if you have to wait more than 15 seconds, 20 seconds, you lost me to another tab, right?
Absolutely.
The kids expect this. They expect crisp graphics. They expect to be able to swipe their left to right to get somewhere. And so that's why our new line of CMTX, we have resistive touch HMIs that have a nice glass front panel, just like your iPhone or your iPad. They've got that multi-swipe capability, so you can swipe your screens. We have models that give you vibrational or haptic feedback. When you press a button, it lets you know, yes, it's actually been pressed. And then the ability to really design interfaces that are meant to support the operator in more than just press this button, clear this alarm. I think that that's really also what can make working with an old school style machine feel a lot more native to them, right? You don't want to press a button and then have to wait 5 seconds for the action to take.
Awesome.
Right? So one of the cool things when I do demos, I take my mobile demo out. I have a little battery pack, just like I would charge my iPhone when it's running low.
Seriously.
I plug in the HMI, it boots up. And anybody that's worked with your grandpa's HMI, right?
Yeah.
I almost don't have to go further in the demo because the fact that it boots up like that and it's working already is a wow factor.
Absolutely.
And I think that just goes to show how little we expect of these things.
Yeah.
We expect them to be old. We expect them to be industry 3. And the reality is, yes, in some cases you don't need a dedicated old school style HMI that lives on the machine, but in many cases you still do. And there's no reason why we can't make them smarter. Yeah. And so we are actively working on also partnerships with other companies in the industrial automation industry that are innovating in other areas, because our focus is HMIs. All we do is make HMIs, which is also why they're incredibly inexpensive. These things are at a price point you wouldn't believe. Like, that's another thing. I boot it up, I tell them the price.
And you can walk away.
I can almost walk away.
That's amazing.
And we really are also trying to expand the types of content that we make. The way that we support this product is we have a YouTube channel with over 300, now probably 350 YouTube videos.
That's awesome.
We produce them on a weekly basis, basically. Questions that our customers have asked, new use cases.
Wow.
And we want to get that information out there because engineers are smart. They want to find their own solutions. They don't want to be sold to by somebody that comes and, peddles their product line.
Yep.
There's room for that, but in this day and age, you should be able to get everything that you need online or, at your machine. We want that quick convenience and access.
So I've known you, Nikki, for a long time. You've been a guest on my other show, Manufacturing Culture Podcast. You introduced me to the leader of Weintek today. Talk to us, because maybe I'm weird where I'm the one who looks at culture when I'm making capital type purchases, but I think a lot more people actually do that.
I think you're right.
You were very intentional about taking this position and why you wanted to come work for this company.
Absolutely.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my first brush with this company, I hadn't heard of them until COVID. And I heard of them because in that last job, I was helping a lot of my customers try to source products that were completely unavailable due to supply chain problems. And at some point, somebody needed or wanted a Weintek HMI. And I got in touch with Keith, the VP of sales. He calls me back the same day and says, hey, yeah, we have it in stock in Seattle. Do you want it now? We can ship it same day. And to me, I was just like, whoa, when these competing products were quoting 52 weeks or longer in some cases, we had them in stock. Okay. So number one, you need speed, you need good quality product, and you need good support. Those are like basics at this point. You have to have them. But being at this point in my career, I also care a lot about the people that I work with. What's the philosophy of the company?
Yep.
Why are they doing what they're doing?
Yep.
It's one of the things I always ask in my demos I do on Automation Ladies.
Yeah.
Tell me the why first. You know, the product's probably cool, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But why do you care so much about this that you want to devote your time to it?
Yeah.
And Oscar Rojas, our CEO here in the US. So Weintek USA is the US representation of Weintek Labs, is the developer of the HMI and the manufacturer. So our factory in Taiwan produces millions of HMIs a year.
Wow. Okay.
And that's why during COVID, we didn't have a supply chain problem, because we basically own the supply chain for what we produce.
That's awesome.
The chips are produced there. The LCD screens are produced there. All of the components are in that area.
Yep.
But yeah, so Oscar was an engineer at Medtronic, and
Interesting.
he was traveling around the world building factories for Medtronic.
Wow.
And he saw this product and he got to know the team in Taiwan. And he said, this is something that I want to bring to the US. And he has built his company slowly and deliberately, finding the right people and not just focusing on, you know, growing at the cost of anything, but doing it with the right people and treating them well, which is why most of the people here have been around for a long time. And they're hired for not just their knowledge or their experience, but their traits, which is something that I find to be not so common. And I really value that.
Absolutely.
And their philosophy to everything. No subscription fees for software. We're all drowning in subscription fees. They take a hard line. No subscription fees whatsoever. They lowered their prices this year at the beginning of the year. Lowered on the most popular models, because we make more of them. They're now lower costs for us to produce.
Absolutely.
We actually pass that on to the customer, which is almost unheard of in this industry.
100% unheard of.
Even the way they approached hiring me, the position that was open wasn't a good fit for me, but we felt like there was a good fit for the team.
Good
and
cultural
so
fit.
we found a fit from a position standpoint for us to work together. That sort of thing you don't see in leaders very often.
Nope.
And, you know, talking behind the scenes, asking other people what they think of that leader and hearing the same thing. I know that, you know, you talk a lot about culture and authenticity, and it's one thing to have a mission statement on the wall, but does it really translate to what people do? And this is a company where I found through all levels, the same story goes, the same mission goes, the same feeling is there.
I love it.
That we're working together and we care about the customer, and we will make long-term decisions for our best interests and our customers' best interests, instead of thinking short-term, oh, profit this quarter, you know, those sorts of things. And I've just found that to ring true. And here, you know, about 5 months later, people ask me, how do you like it? And as you can see, I think my genuine enthusiasm and passion, it can't be. I also looked online and I want to see what engineers have to say.
You have been beaming in every conversation I've watched you have today. Congratulations. I love it. I love the product. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Jen.
That's it. That's the episode. Hope it helped you see HMIs a little bit differently. A massive thanks to Nikki Gonzales for taking the time at Automate to walk through all of it. What they do, why it matters, and what most people miss. If you liked it, like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Send it to someone who should see it. That's how I keep doing this. I appreciate you for being here. See you in the next one.